At Foundant, we believe the software should help you tell your story. One of the most powerful ways to tell the story is using your data. But with all the data that you have, how does it become information that people can read and take action on? That's where impacts and outcomes come into play. With over 10 years of experience, we've seen 3 distinct ways people track impact and outcomes. The first way is to let your nonprofit define their own impacts and outcomes. If you're running a competitive grant program that doesn't have a defined outcome, then you might let your nonprofits define who they intend to serve. What is the impact? What are their inputs and their outputs? Maybe your competitive grant program serves a very specific need, such as a training program. You know that you want to train people. So, you might ask questions around how many people do you intend to train? You're going to also ask your applicants what are their inputs? How many staff hours do they intend to have? Is there anybody helping? And what are the outputs of the program? And finally, the impact, the long-term or indirect effects of your outcomes. Impacts can be hard to measure. You have to measure things over time. The third option is a hybrid, where funders have their specific things they need to track, but then they leave open questions for the grant seekers to define what they view their impacts and their outcomes to be. Let's take a look at a specific form in our system. In this example, you can see that we have some inputs, outputs, outcomes, and impacts. First off, we want to know what the inputs are. What's the organization devoting to this particular program? Whether it be financial, staff hours, partnerships. Secondly, we want to know what the outputs are. What does the program produce? For instance, the training program provides graduates. Then, we want to know what's the outcome, or effect of the program. If we do a training program, do you envision the outcome being that your graduates will get jobs and keep those particular jobs for a longer period of time? And finally, the impact. What's the long-term or indirect effect of your outcomes? Impacts are hard to measure because they may or may not happen. And many times, you have to measure them over the course of a long period of time. Using our follow-up stage, you can assign any grantees follow-up forms. In this example, we have a grant agreement, reflection report, and final report. You could assign 10, 20, 30 forms after somebody's been awarded. Track their impact after they've been awarded for years to come. If you have grants that have installments or multi-year payments, have them submit feedback forms or interim reports before you cut your next check. Check the progress on how your nonprofits are doing and the impact your money is having. Run reports in the system that look at what people said they were going to do versus what they've actually done. In this example, we're looking at all my grantees in a given year by geographic area. I can see how much money I've actually awarded, how many people my applicants intended to serve on the application, and how many people they've served so far when they've reported on their grant reports. Then I wanted to know, using our formula field, how much money they're using per person. I also asked them, as a staff, what are your intended goals? And then the results of the staff. You can track qualitative and quantitative data in the system. Above that, I wanted some summary information. So by geographic area, and the years that we've awarded, how many people did we serve in those geographic areas? Also, how much money was used on average per person? And then as a foundation, our goal is to serve between 40 and 50,000 people. Today, my applicants are telling me they've served 24,615. At Foundant, we know every grant seeker and grant maker is a little different. The software should be configurable and allow you to tell the story that you want to tell.